5 years of underground dating, 1 month before the wedding, yet here I was, vomiting uncontrollably while trying on my wedding dress. Julian Blackwood's voice drifted in from the other room, arguing with his agent. Go public. Impossible, my career is skyrocketing right now. Announcing a relationship would be suicide. I've already arranged the private jet. On the wedding day, I'll have a sudden emergency and fly abroad. I tried to comfort myself, thinking he was just momentarily confused. But during the filming of his new show, he was constantly flirting with that rising starlet to hype up their CP couple image. Grace, can't you be a bit more understanding? Wendy and I are just doing this for work. Do you have to make such a fuss? If it weren't for me, what kind of future would a small fried jewelry designer like you have? Even when I had a miscarriage, he was still flirting with Wendy Vane. The day before the wedding, I live-streamed myself jumping into the sea. The search and rescue team found only fragments of my wedding dress and those rings. As my consciousness faded, a mechanical voice sounded in my mind. Host's original memories detected to be in chaos. Memories restored. Target for conquest. Ryder Sterling. The wedding dress weighed heavily on me. I held onto the wall, my stomach churning violently, yet nothing came out. The conversation between Julian Blackwood and his agent felt like needles piercing my eardrums, stabbing straight into my heart. 5 years. For 5 whole years, I had lived like a rat in the shadows, hiding behind his glamour, only to be rewarded with a runaway groom plan on the eve of our wedding. Breathe, deep breath. I told myself not to panic. 5 years of feelings, how could they just vanish? There must be a misunderstanding. Julian would surely give me an explanation. I splashed cold water on my face, forced a smile, and returned to the fitting room. Julian was sitting on the sofa flipping through a magazine. Seeing me enter, he looked up with a gentle smile. Babe, are you okay? You look a bit pale. I struggled to maintain a faint smile, suppressing the emotions surging from the bottom of my heart. I'm fine. Maybe the dress is just too heavy. Julian didn't think much of it and reached out to ruffle my hair. It looks beautiful. Fighting back the nausea, I stroked the intricate lace pattern on the dress. It's just a bit tight. Julian stood up, walked over to me, gently wrapped his arms around my waist, and rested his chin on my head. Then let's change it. We can try whatever style you like. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and tried to immerse myself in the sweet atmosphere he created. 5 years. How much had I given up for him? How much had I endured? Wasn't it all for this moment? But why couldn't I feel a shred of joy? Instead, it felt like I had swallowed a fly, disgusting and nauseating. No need to change. This one is fine. Julian seemed to sense something was wrong. He walked in front of me, cupped my face, his eyes searching mine. Grace, what's wrong? Are you keeping something from me? I bit my lip, hesitating whether to tell him what I had heard. But what if it was just a misunderstanding? I didn't want to ruin our 5-year relationship and the upcoming wedding over a misunderstanding that might not exist. I managed to squeeze out a smile. I'm fine, just a little tired. I wanted you to stay with me. My voice was soft, almost inaudible. Julian's eyes flickered, seemingly torn. Babe, you know this movie is very important to me. Before he could finish, Lisa, his agent, urged him impatiently. Julian, hurry up. We're running out of time. The director is pushing for the shoot. Needing someone to keep you company just to try on a dress. You're so high maintenance, are you a baby or what? Lisa's shrill voice was like a thorn, stabbing fiercely into my ears. I took a deep breath, the nausea in my stomach intensifying. I looked up, staring straight at Julian, hoping to find a trace of defense or apology on his face. Even a little bit would be better than this suffocating silence. But he just frowned slightly and said with a hint of impatience, Lisa, don't say that. Grace isn't feeling well. Grace, I'm going to the set first. I'll contact you later. He didn't even look at me again before turning to leave. Lisa followed him arrogantly. As she passed me, she deliberately bumped into my shoulder and let out a contemptuous snort. Not feeling well? I think you're just putting on airs. A small fried jewelry designer actually thinks she's a wealthy trophy wife. After they left, the bridal shop staff whispered among themselves, their eyes full of disdain and mockery. Oh my, I thought she was some rich wife. Turns out she's just a pathetic abandoned woman. Exactly. The groom ran off halfway through the fitting. It's hilarious. Maybe she's paying for the dress herself, just wanting to wear something expensive to feel good for once. The staff's acerbic words were like knives, slicing away at my self-esteem piece by piece. I clenched my fists, turned around abruptly, and glared at them, enunciating every word. "Shut your filthy mouths," the staff fell silent, embarrassed. Leaving the bridal shop, I used feeling unwell as an excuse and asked the driver to take me to the hospital first. I needed to calm down, and I needed to confirm something. "Congratulations, you're about 6 weeks pregnant. Did you not know?" The doctor's words were like a thunderclap, leaving me dizzy. Pregnant? 6 weeks. I mechanically took the report, the words gestation, 6 weeks clearly printed on it. My thoughts drifted back to 5 years ago. Back then, Julian only had eyes for me. He was gentle and considerate, a completely different person from who he was now. 5 years ago, I had just entered the jewelry design industry. At an exhibition, my work caught Julian's eye. He wasn't a top-a-list actor then, just a rookie actor starting out. We met, got to know each other, and fell in love. Everything felt so natural. I gave up the opportunity to study abroad to support his career wholeheartedly. Later, his fame skyrocketed, and he became a hot star. And I gradually grew into a somewhat famous jewelry designer. We experienced a lot together and overcame many difficulties. I remember when he won his first Best Actor trophy, he hugged me excitedly and whispered in my ear, "Gracie, thank you. Without you, I wouldn't be where I am today." At that time, his eyes were so sincere, his embrace so warm. I thought we would be happy forever. But later, everything changed. He became busier and busier, coming home less frequently. Even when he was home, he was always distracted, taking endless calls and dealing with endless work. It seemed there was an invisible film between us. We could never go back to how we were. I comforted myself, thinking he was working hard for our future. I should understand and support him. Just like I understood his kissing scenes during filming, those were fake, sacrifices for art. I should be a reasonable girlfriend, not an unreasonable shrew. But why did my heart ache so much? It hurt like someone was cutting my heart with a dull knife, slice by slice. The nausea struck again. I held onto a roadside tree and dry heaved a few times. My stomach was empty. Nothing came out but bitter bile, rising up my esophagus and burning my throat. I took a deep breath, wiped away my tears, and dialed Julian's number. The phone rang for a long time before it was picked up. A delicate voice came through, sickeningly sweet. "Jules, I want more. This is your exclusive dressing room. No one will disturb us." Then came the nauseating sounds of kissing, the rustling of clothes, and Wendy Vane's intermittent moans. "Jules, you're so bad. Be gentle." "You little vixen, did I not feed you enough last night?" I bit my lip hard until I tasted blood, then slammed the phone down. If the conversation between him and his agent in the bridal shop was the last straw that broke the camel's back, then the sounds coming from the phone just now were a sharp knife, viciously piercing my heart, bloody and agonizing. I thought I was strong enough to endure everything from him, including his neglect, his distance, and even his betrayal. But I had overestimated myself. The villa was empty, deadly silent. I returned to the living room in a daze, my gaze falling on a photo on the coffee table. It was a photo of us from 5 years ago. Julian in the picture had clear eyes and a gentle smile, holding me tightly as if I were his everything. I remember asking him if he would ever cheat. We were still in the honeymoon phase then. He held me and vowed, his eyes gentle enough to drown in, "Gracie, what goes on in that little head of yours? I will only love you in this life. Except for you, I don't want anyone else." I was amused by his serious expression and nuzzled into his arms like a satisfied cat. Numbly, I turned the photo face down on the table. My phone screen lit up. It was Wendy Vane sending over a dozen photos. I clicked on them with numb mechanical fingers, scrolling through one by one. In the photos, Julian and Wendy were intimate, their behavior ambiguous. There were shots of them kissing in a hotel room, feeding each other in the set's lounge, and even intertwined in bed. "Grace Newman, you really are pathetic. What's the use of guarding an empty shell of a boyfriend? Look at him, isn't he obediently lying in my bed? Don't pretend to be some saintly white lotus. Do you think you're so high and mighty? Aren't you just clinging desperately to Julian? By the way, I forgot to tell you, Jules said you're like a cold fish in bed, no fun at all. Unlike me, who leaves him wanting more." She sent a smug emoji, as if showing off her victory. I suddenly found it laughable. Once, to understand his needs for filming, I endured the inner torment and pretended to magnanimously accept him, acting with other women. I was like a fool, using so-called trust and understanding to whitewash the piece and numb myself. In the end, I received such a surprise gift. I thought I would be hysterical, scream curses, or weep bitterly. But I didn't. I just felt tired, an exhaustion radiating from my bones, like a machine running on overload, finally collapsing under the strain. I had exhausted my strength and sincerity, only to end up moving no one but myself. Wendy, congratulations on finally clawing your way to the top. How does it taste sleeping with used goods? Don't you feel disgusted? Also, stop calling me a cold fish. Do you think you're some lively lobster? In my eyes, you and Julian are just a pair of rotten fish and shrimp, a match made in heaven. I sent the message in one breath, feeling a surge of satisfaction. Wendy replied quickly with a string of abusive emojis and dirty words, too vulgar to look at. I sneered and blocked her directly. Out of sight, out of mind. I scrolled through my social media feed in a trance. It was full of sweet photos of Julian and Wendy. The captions were even more piercing. Thanks to Wendy for her meticulous care. Looking forward to our new drama below was a stream of blessings and likes, including many from friends in the industry and famous directors. Taking a deep breath, I gathered my trembling hands and opened the WeChat chat with Julian. In the chat box, the last message was one I sent him 3 days ago. Julian, it's my birthday today. Can you come back to keep me company? Followed by a pitiful emoji. He hadn't replied. Looking at this message now, it felt ironically sharp. I typed a message. Julian Blackwood, let's break up. The moment it sent successfully, I felt an emptiness in my heart, as if I had lost something important. But at the same time, there was a sense of relief. No one likes loneliness. In fact, silence is an answer. Dodging is an answer. Since he didn't care, why should I deceive myself any longer? The next day, Julian called, asking gently what kind of tantrum I was throwing, his tone carrying a hint of indulgent helplessness. As if I were an ignorant child playing a childish game with him. Gracie, what kind of nonsense is this? Sending a message like that first thing in the morning, you scared me. I laughed coldly, my knuckles turning white as I gripped the phone. Scared you? Julian, I don't think you have a heart at all, so how could you be scared? I know about you and Wendy. Julian on the other end fell silent for a moment, his tone becoming somewhat hard. Grace, listen to my explanation, it's not what you think. I laughed mockingly. Explanation? Explain what? Explain you two kissing passionately in a hotel room? Explain you rolling around in bed together? Or explain how you say you love me while sleeping with another woman? He seemed surprised that I was being so tough, and impatience crept into his voice. Grace, don't be unreasonable, the entertainment industry is like this. It's not like you just found out today. Wendy and I are just hyping the show, do you understand? Wendy and I are just doing what's needed for work, shipping a CP couple. Do you have to make such a big deal out of it? Why have you become so petty? If it weren't for me, what kind of future would a small fry jewelry designer like you have? After he hung up, I sat on the bed numbly. 5 years. I gave him the best years of my life, only to get unreasonable in return. Since he was heartless, he couldn't blame me for being unjust. I, Grace Newman, was not a pushover. I went straight to the film set. At that moment, Julian was filming a kissing scene. The female lead was naturally Wendy. When I arrived, they were kissing inseparably, not even hearing the director yell, "Cut." The staff around them looked accustomed to it, and some even took out their phones to take pictures. Wow, Julian and Wendy are such a good match, truly a match made in heaven. Yeah, look how deeply they kiss, it must be true love. I ship them so hard this couple is locked in. I heard they have a great relationship privately too, often going out to eat and shop together. I rushed up and slapped Wendy hard across the face. The crisp smack sounded exceptionally clear on the set. The surroundings instantly fell silent, everyone looked at me in shock. Wendy covered her face, staring at me in disbelief. Jules, it hurts so much I don't know how I offended Miss Newman, why did she hit me? Julian hugged her distressingly, glared at me, and shouted sternly. Grace, are you crazy? What gives you the right to hit someone? My raised hand froze in midair. I had wanted to slap Wendy again to teach her a lesson, but seeing Julian looking so heartbroken for her, my heart felt like it was being pricked by thousands of needles. Disgusting. I wanted to vomit. Julian, I hit her because she's a slut. She knew you had a girlfriend, yet she shamelessly threw herself at you to seduce you. She deserved to be hit. Julian, flustered and angry, dragged me out of the set. His hand gripped my wrist tightly, as if to crush my bones. He pulled me aside and slapped me hard. Slap, burning pain exploded on my cheek instantly. I was stunned. My ears rang, stars danced before my eyes, and I tasted blood in my mouth. I stumbled a few steps, almost falling, barely steadying myself by holding onto a nearby tree. You're crazy. Do you want to ruin me? Do you want everyone to know about our relationship? Didn't I already agree to marry you? What are you still dissatisfied with? Don't forget the agreement we signed. He stared at me dead on, his eyes full of warning and fear, with not a trace of the pity he showed Wendy just moments ago. The agreement. Always the agreement. To stay by his side openly, I agreed to hide our relationship, begging for a scrap of love like a shameful underground mistress. I gave up my self-esteem, my pride, even my dreams, just to stay by his side for one more second. Now, I suddenly found it ridiculous. The man I loved with all my heart for 5 years was actually so terrified of our relationship being exposed. It turned out I was the biggest stain on his glamorous life. Fine, Julian. I covered my swollen face, my voice terrifyingly calm. You're right, I was immature, I was unreasonable. From today on, we are finished. Let's cancel the engagement. He froze, seemingly unable to believe I would say such a thing. The rage and fear from a moment ago faded instantly, replaced by an incredulous bewilderment. The hand gripping my wrist loosened subconsciously. What did you say? I repeated it, every word distinct, carrying a sense of finality. I said we cancel the engagement. I've had enough of this sneaking around, living in the dark. I, Grace Newman, do not need you to survive. As I turned around, I felt Julian's fingers tremble, as if wanting to grab me, but then dropping weakly. Before I could take a second step, Wendy's delicate voice came from behind. Jules, don't be like this. Miss Newman is just acting on impulse. Her boneless arm wrapped around Julian's arm, pressing herself almost entirely against him. I saw Julian's body stiffen noticeably. But soon, he wrapped his arm around Wendy and patted her back gently. It's okay, Wens, I'll take you home. I bit my lower lip hard until I tasted blood, barely maintaining my last shred of sanity. I told myself, Grace, don't look back. Don't look back at that pair of dogs. The choking smell of smoke mixed with the aroma of cumin and chili filled the air. The barbecue stand was noisy and crowded. I downed a large mouthful of cold beer, the spicy liquid sliding down my throat, bringing a brief numbness. Scumbag, what a total scumbag. My best friend Chloe Summers turned green with anger after hearing the story. That Julian Blackwood, after you treated him so well, he actually hit you for that two-faced snake. That's too much. Men are all the same, wanting to have their cake and eat it too. That dog Julian, you should have seen his true colors sooner. Chloe opened a few more bottles of beer, and we toasted. Numbed by alcohol, I began to frantically vent about Julian's various misdeeds. From the first time, he took me to a so-called friend gathering, which was actually Wendy's birthday party, to every time he used busy with work as an excuse to miss my birthday and our anniversaries, to his ambiguous behavior with Wendy behind my back. Piece by piece, pouring out like beans. Tears burst forth. I choked up, barely able to speak a complete sentence. I'm pregnant. This sentence was like a bomb exploding in the noisy barbecue stand. Chloe froze, the beer bottle slipping from her hand and smashing onto the ground with a crash, splashing liquor everywhere. What did you say? Are you crazy drinking while pregnant? Don't you know that's bad for the baby? Her tone was urgent and fearful as she scrambled to snatch the beer bottle from my hand. It's been over a month. He doesn't know, and I won't let him know. Chloe was terrified by my words and kept asking me what I planned to do next. I've decided to leave this place. My eyes were firm, my tone resolute. Leave. Go where? Chloe's eyes widened, clearly not yet recovered from the shock. Anywhere is fine, just away from this heartbreaking place. Over the next few days, Chloe helped me analyze various fake death scenarios. Finally, we decided to stage an accidental fall into the sea. The location was a seaside cliff in the suburbs. It was sparsely populated with few surveillance cameras, making it easy to operate and minimizing the risk of discovery. Since Julian was going to abandon me on the wedding day anyway, I might as well dump him first. The next day, while I was packing in the villa, Julian unexpectedly returned from the set. He was carrying a cake and a beautifully wrapped gift box, a gentle smile on his face. "Gracie, happy birthday. I'm sorry I shouldn't have hit you. I was too impulsive that day." Looking at him, I suddenly felt nauseous. What was this? A slap followed by a piece of candy? Why should I accept his apology? Why should I play along with his act? No need. I don't need your apology, nor your gift. He ignored my cold words and opened the gift box himself. Inside lay a dazzling diamond necklace. The main diamond was huge, sparkling brilliantly under the light. "Gracie, I know you're still mad at me, but I really know I was wrong. Let this necklace be my apology gift, okay?" Looking at the necklace, a chill shot from the soles of my feet to the top of my head. This familiar style, this sparkling brilliance, wasn't this the exact one Wendy posted on her timeline a few days ago? The caption was a photo of her intimate with Julian, reading, "Thanks honey, love you. Do you like it? I had it custom made for you." Seeing me stare at the necklace without speaking, Julian thought I was stunned by its luxury and reached out to put it on me. I slapped his hand away, grabbed the diamond necklace, and smashed it onto the floor. "Don't touch me, Julian. What do you take me for? You have the nerve to fob me off with second-hand goods Wendy wore? Do you think I'm a scrap collector?" The hatred in my heart grew like wild weeds. However deep the love was, the hate was now just as intense. Julian, having his lie exposed, had flickering eyes but still remained stubborn. "What nonsense are you talking about? I bought this necklace for you. I just let Wendy try it on. That's all? What does that prove? Do you have to cling to such trivial matters? If you keep being this unreasonable, then let's not get married." "Fine then, let's not get married," I blurted it out, feeling a refreshing wave of revenge in my heart. Julian was clearly stunned. He probably didn't expect me to agree so readily. The expression on his face shifted from anger to shock, then to an incredulous bewilderment. He probably thought I would be like before, crying and begging him not to leave me, just like every argument in the past. Unfortunately, he was wrong. This time, I wouldn't look back. His face turned ashen, his lips trembling, and it took him a while to squeeze out a sentence. "Grace, you'd better think clearly. If you leave me, you'll regret it." "Regret?" "Julian, the one who will regret this is you over a month. Not too long, not too short. Enough for me to calm down, and enough for me to see Julian's true colors." I started secretly contacting friends abroad, handling exit procedures, and figuring out how to raise the child in my belly after birth. Everything was proceeding in an orderly manner, and I even started looking forward to my new life. But plans can't keep up with changes. I underestimated Wendy's viciousness. Over this past month, Wendy hired an army of internet trolls to smear me in every way possible online. She paid off several marketing accounts to spread rumors that I was promiscuous, two-timing, and fabricated stories about my ambiguous relationships with different men. She even bribed competitors in my company to frame me for plagiarizing designs. For a time, the internet was filled with insults and humiliation directed at me. Grace Newman, a small fry jewelry designer, so shameless, daring to seduce my idol. Plagiarism dog, get out of the design circle. Support Wendy, boycott Grace, boycott plagiarism. From my professional ethics to my private life, nothing was spared. These rumors began to affect my work. The company received countless complaint calls demanding the dismissal of me, the morally corrupt designer. Under pressure, my boss called me into the office. Though sympathetic, he tactfully asked me to take a break for a while. I understood. This was already the best outcome. What chilled my heart even more was that Julian, the man I once loved deeply, didn't stand up to say a single word for me. He remained silent, allowing those vicious comments to rage, allowing me to be pushed to the forefront of the storm. He even declared through his agent that we were just ordinary friends and never had a romantic relationship. I was preparing to take a taxi home when suddenly I felt a strong force from behind. I was pushed to the ground without warning. A sharp pain shot through my lower abdomen, and I could even feel a warm liquid flowing down my legs. Ah, I couldn't help screaming, clutching my stomach in terror, seeing red between my fingers. Passers-by gasped, and someone recognized me. Isn't that Grace Newman, that jewelry designer getting blackened by the whole internet? Served her right, must have done something guilty to get such karma. Tusk, tusk, tusk. She looks innocent. Didn't expect her private life to be so messy. The surrounding discussions pricked my eardrums like sharp needles. I gritted my teeth, fighting the pain, trying to stay conscious. Just then, I saw a familiar figure hurrying away. It was Wendy's assistant. Ivy, it was her. She pushed me on purpose. I struggled to stand up but found myself powerless, watching helplessly as bright red blood stained the ground. With trembling hands, I dialed Julian's phone. My ear was filled with the busy tone, again and again. On the 8th try, the call finally connected. His slightly impatient voice came from the other end. "Hello? Julian, save me? My stomach hurts." "The baby," my voice trembled, weak and feeble. "Stomach hurts. Go to the hospital, why are you calling me?" His tone was impatient, as if I were stupid. I think I'm bleeding." I spat out these words with difficulty, darkness swarming my vision. Silence on the other end for a few seconds, then came his cold, mocking sneer. "Grace, what trick are you playing now? The pity card? Trying to win my sympathy this way? Let me tell you, keep dreaming. Jules, whose call is it? Why is it so noisy?" I heard Julian coaxing her gently. "It's nothing, just an irrelevant person." Beep, the call hung up. My heart went completely cold. When I woke up again, I was lying in a hospital bed, the smell of disinfectant stinging my nose. The pain in my abdomen had lessened, but the wound in my heart was expanding, dripping with blood. The doctor told me the baby was gone. I nodded numbly, my heart a void. I didn't even shed a single tear, because my tears had long since dried up in Julian's repeated indifference. When Chloe arrived at the hospital, I was cutting my hair in front of the mirror. My originally long, shiny black hair was ruthlessly cut into a short bob, messy and uneven. Chloe was startled and rushed over to snatch the scissors from my hand. "Gracie, are you crazy? What are you doing? Chloe, help me handle the discharge procedures. It's time for me to go." Once, Julian liked my long hair the most, saying I looked like an ethereal fairy. Now, the fairy had fallen, shattered into pieces. I smiled coldly at myself in the mirror. My eyes no longer held their former gentleness and expectation, only endless chill and despair. It was 3 days, 72 hours before the wedding. After leaving the hospital, I returned to the villa. The empty rooms still held remnants of memories between me and Julian in every corner. I smashed the sweet photo on the coffee table to pieces. The loud bang was my final accusation against this relationship. Mechanically, I threw everything related to Julian into garbage bags. The photos we once cherished, the couple rings, the limited edition bags he gave me in my eyes, they had all turned into trash, even piercing irony. Flames consumed everything: photos, letters, gifts. Burn away the fake sweetness, burn away my last shred of fantasy about Julian, the day of the wedding. I sat before the vanity mirror, looking at the woman in the fiery red dress. The bright red made my skin look even paler, like a poppy blooming in the snow, seductive and dangerous. Chloe helped me adjust the hem of my dress and asked cautiously, "Gracie, have you really thought this through?" I sneered at the mirror. "If I'm not okay, he won't be okay either." The wedding venue was decorated luxuriously, showing off Julian's love for me everywhere, but I knew neither the groom nor the bride would come. According to the plan, I arrived at the seaside cliff and made one last video call to Julian. Beep beep, the call connected. "Grace, what the hell are you doing? The wedding is about to start you." "Julian, I'm at Sea Lookout Cliff." My voice was calm, without a ripple. "Sea Lookout Cliff, what are you doing there?" There was confusion in his tone and a hint of imperceptible nervousness. "To admire the scenery, of course." I chuckled lightly, a trace of mockery in my voice. "On such an important day, of course I have to find a good place to celebrate." Suddenly, the giant screen at the wedding venue switched to the live feed of the seaside cliff where I was. Julian couldn't see this feed naturally, because at this moment, he was with Wendy. Facing the camera, I slowly raised my left hand. The diamond ring on my ring finger glittered coldly in the sunlight. "Julian, look, what a beautiful ring. Too bad it's about to return to the embrace of the sea." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and leaped into the turbulent ocean. At the wedding venue, the guests were in an uproar. On the giant screen, there was nothing left but rolling waves. The bride jumped into the sea to commit suicide. Suddenly, a figure appeared on the screen. Backlit, his face unclear, but he was tall and upright, like a descending god. He leaped, diving into the rolling sea as well. As my consciousness faded, a mechanical voice sounded in my mind. Host's original memories detected to be in chaos. Memories restored. Target for conquest. Ryder Sterling. Meanwhile, on the other end of the phone, Julian's voice came through. Grace, what game are you playing now? Jumping into the sea. Do you think I'd believe that? Stop these childish hard-to-get tricks, he paused, impatience in his tone. The wedding is starting now. You better appear in front of me immediately or else. Responding to him was a suffocating silence. He probably never imagined that I, Grace Newman, would actually dare to do this. Just then, Lisa the agent rushed over frantically, holding a phone that was playing the footage of me jumping into the sea. It's bad, Julian. Grace really jumped. Julian stared dead at the screen, replaying the footage of me jumping over and over. He suddenly felt an inexplicable panic, as if something important was slipping through his fingers. Impossible, how could she dare? Impossible. She's forcing my hand. Yes, that must be it. She must want me to regret, want me to save her. What does a video prove? She's so smart, she probably arranged all this beforehand. His voice grew louder, increasingly hysterical. He had always thought I loved him to death, that I couldn't leave him, that my everything revolved around him. He thought he could hurt me recklessly, toy with my feelings, and I would only wag my tail like a pitiful puppy, begging for his charity. But I just wouldn't grant his wish. I used the most absolute method to deal him a fatal blow. I, Grace Newman, was never a fragile flower to be manipulated. Pride and rebellion flowed in my blood. I wouldn't give up myself for anyone. Julian shoved Wendy aside and stumbled toward the wedding hall. He panicked, truly panicked. He never thought the woman who claimed to love him, who humbled herself into the dust for him, would truly choose death. By this time, the wedding scene was in chaos. Serves him right, scumbag playing with women's feelings. The bride jumped into the sea, and he still has the face to run? No conscience. The Blackwood family is such an embarrassment. A luxury wedding turned into a suicide scene. What a joke. Julian's father, face ashen, pointed at Julian's nose and cursed. You unfilial son, look what you've done. The bride jumps at the wedding. Where do we put our Blackwood family's face? Julian's mother screamed from the side. Such bad luck jumping into the sea on a wedding day, deliberately causing trouble for our family. Even in death, she causes trouble, making us look for her. Who knows how much money it will cost to salvage the body. Such bad luck. Julian couldn't believe the image on the screen. That resolute back was like a sharp knife, piercing his heart fiercely. He stumbled back, vision darkening, almost unable to stand. Wendy quickly supported him, looking worried. Jules, are you okay? Julian pushed her away, eyes bloodshot, gritting his teeth. It's all your fault. If not for your terrible idea, Grace wouldn't have jumped. At that moment, his phone screen lit up. A text from the hospital popped up, the payment notification for my miscarriage a few days ago. Julian froze. Every word in the text was branded into his mind like a hot iron, burning his nerves. Miscarriage? Baby. My baby. Only then did he remember I had told him I was pregnant. But he was so focused on Wendy then, he didn't take my words to heart at all, even mocking me for using a child to force a marriage. But now, this text slapped him hard, making him realize how wrong he was. The search and rescue team worked for 3 days and 3 nights. In the end, they only found scraps of my clothes and the matching rings I personally designed, engraved with our initials. When the rings were salvaged, Julian almost collapsed. It was a platinum band inlaid with crushed diamonds, the inner circle engraved with mine and his initials GNJB. Gracie, my Gracie. He called my name over and over, his voice echoing on the empty sea, receiving no response. Except for the sound of waves hitting the reef and the wind whistling, there was nothing. He began to mutter to himself, rambling about our past. He said he regretted it, regretted not cherishing me, regretted his indifference and hurt towards me. He said he loved me, always loved me, just was too stupid before to express it. How ridiculous before, when I humbly begged for his love, he turned a blind eye. Now that I'm gone, he says he loves me. Julian, your love comes too late. I don't need it anymore. This jump into the sea was less a suicide and more a rebirth. I had arranged everything long ago. The jump was fake. I changed into a diving suit, swam to the shore from the other side, where a speedboat I arranged was waiting for me. Just as I was about to reach the speedboat, I heard the sound of splashing water behind me. Grace, startled, I looked back desperately. It was Ryder Sterling. He actually jumped down. Damn it, he can't swim, cursing inwardly. I quickly turned and swam toward him. I grabbed his arm, pushing him upward with all my might, shouting, "Ryder, are you crazy? You can't swim," he coughed violently, seawater choking his throat, leaving him almost speechless. "Grace, why did you jump? Do you know how scared I was?" His voice was hoarse, carrying a sob like a wronged child. "Don't leave me. I can't live without you." While I was dazed, Ryder suddenly kissed my lips. His kiss tasted of salty seawater, frantic and scorching, as if to devour me. I widened my eyes in shock, wanting to push him away, but was held tightly in his embrace. The seawater was bone-chillingly cold, yet Ryder's lips were unexpectedly burning hot. Just then, the speedboat finally arrived. People on the boat pulled us up. Soaked through, I collapsed on the deck, gasping for air. System activated, restoring memories. In an instant, countless memory fragments surged like a tide. I remembered my true identity, my mission, the reason I came to this world. I finally understood why my love for Julian was so humble, so persistent. Even though he hurt me time and again, I couldn't truly let go. Because I was programmed to love him. My mission was to conquer him, to make him fall in love with me. Ironically, the system had the wrong script. My target character should have been Ryder, my childhood friend, the man who silently guarded me but was ignored by me. And I foolishly bound myself to Julian, getting shoved into a melodramatic, chasing the crematorium, script a regretful ex trying to win back love. God, are you playing with me? Making me go through so much melodrama, only to tell me I loved the wrong person. I looked at Ryder. He was looking at me with worry, his eyes full of heartache and love. This look overlapped with the sunny, cheerful boy in my memories, warming my heart. "Ryder, I'm sorry. I'm back." In my memories, Ryder always followed behind me like a little tail. When we were kids, if I climbed a tree to get a bird's nest, he would shout nervously from below, "Gracie, be careful, don't fall." If I went to the river to catch fish, he would be on the bank holding my small bucket, following my every step. If I got first place in an exam, he would be happier than me, running to buy my favorite candied hawthorn, grinning like a fool. But the kindness I showed him was pitifully scarce. I was even annoyed that he stuck to me like a shadow. Young and arrogant, I only had eyes for Julian's handsome face. Ryder's gentleness and consideration seemed cowardly and boring to me. Now that I've regained my memories, I realize how incredibly wrong I was. Ryder remembered all my favorite snacks, remembered I liked double pudding in my milk tea, remembered my hands and feet were cold in winter, but I feared heat in summer. He remembered my birthday, what flowers I liked, what kind of dresses I liked. He remembered I liked the window seat, the smell of earth after rain, the feeling of sunshine on my body on a clear day. Julian remembered none of these things. Ryder's fingers gently stroked my cheek, his eyes so gentle they could drip water. "Gracie, have you been well these past years?" Looking at him, I had mixed feelings. Have I been well? If the system hadn't malfunctioned, I might have truly immersed myself in the fake love with Julian, thinking I was living well. Thinking back now, those days were like a joke. No, not at all. I grabbed his hand, holding it tightly. "Ryder, without you, I haven't been well at all." Ryder pulled me into his arms with heartache. "Silly girl, from now on, I will always be by your side and never leave you again." The next few days felt like a dream. Ryder barely left my side, helping me pack, booking tickets, arranging everything. We rented a small apartment in Florence, Italy. The Arno River was right outside the window. We could hear the water flowing every morning. Ryder helped me set up a studio, complete with all kinds of tools and materials, just like before. I started designing jewelry again, inspiration springing up like a fountain. In those days overshadowed by Julian, my designs always carried repression and sadness. Now, my work was full of sunshine and vitality. I think this is the real me. Ryder, wearing a simple white shirt with sleeves rolled up revealing his muscular forearms, was making coffee for me. These days, he practically spoiled me rotten. Whatever I wanted, he would try his best to satisfy. This feeling of being cherished made me addicted, but also afraid. Afraid that this was just a fleeting moment. After all, I had already fallen hard once with Julian. "What are you thinking about?" Ryder walked over with the coffee and handed me a steaming cup of cappuccino. I stood on tiptoes and kissed his lips, warm with a faint aroma of coffee. Ryder was stunned for a moment, then took the lead and deepened the kiss. I closed my eyes, feeling his intense love drowning me like a tide. This kiss was completely different from Julian's perfunctory, obligated ones. Ryder's kiss held love, cherish, and caution. I greedily absorbed his tenderness, as if to make up for all the lost time. After a long while, our lips parted. Ryder rested his forehead against mine, his eyes mesmerized, his voice hoarse. "Gracie?" I responded softly, my cheeks feeling hot. "I love you." He looked at me deeply, his eyes full of tenderness and affection. "I love you too." The words almost slipped out of my mouth. After saying it, I realized what I had said. My face turned even redder. Ryder smiled, grinning like a child. He kissed my lips again, this kiss more passionate and lingering than the last. We soon held a wedding in a small chapel in Florence. No guests, no blessings, just the two of us, making vows to stay together for life under the witness of a priest. On the other side, the body was never salvaged. Julian wandered by the river like a madman, day and night. He hired a professional diving team, even spent a fortune to hire famous local water ghosts. But the river was muddy and turbulent, yielding nothing. I was like a wisp of smoke, completely vanished from his world. He called my phone over and over, but no one ever answered. Returning to the villa, pushing open the door, he was greeted by a room of dead silence. The aroma diffuser I usually placed in the entryway was gone. The air had lost that familiar sweetness. The shattered photo on the coffee table had been thrown into the trash can. Everything in the villa reminded him of my departure. He slumped onto the sofa in despair. Fragments of once sweet memories pierced his heart like shards of glass. He had a bad stomach, so I specifically learned stomach-friendly recipes, cooking nutritious meals for him in different ways. When he was sick, I took care of him inseparable, feeding him medicine, reading him stories. When he was tired of filming, I would secretly fly to the set to visit him, bringing his favorite matcha cake, comforting him, encouraging him. He would act like a child, hugging me and whining, complaining about the strict director or difficult co-stars. I always listened with a smile, then gently massaged his sore shoulders. But now, I would never do these things for him again. He remembered my compromises time and again, remembered my gradually dimming eyes, remembered the resolute back I turned on him. He remembered that night I cried and asked him, "Julian, did you ever love me?" He was just silent. Silence was the answer. He destroyed all of this with his own hands. Tears blurred his vision. He deserved it. Because of my sudden death, he was forced onto the trending search list, revealing the truth about our 5-year relationship. Shocking top star Julian Blackwood secretly married for 5 years, wife is actually Julian Blackwood affectionately. I never wanted to hide it, just wanted to protect her. Insider reveals. Julian's wife Grace Newman is a famous jewelry designer. The couple was sweet and traveled secretly many times. Julian Blackwood mourns lost wife. Crying by the river searching for her, he looked much more haggard, green stubble appearing on his chin. At the press conference, he choked up admitting our 5-year relationship, admitted his debt to me, admitted his past indifference and selfishness. He even took out some of my jewelry designs, displaying them to the camera one by one, telling the stories behind them, my sources of inspiration, my ingenuity. For 5 years, he was too stingy to give me a single public acknowledgement. Now that I was dead, I became the best prop for his devoted lover persona. A year passed. Ryder won the F1 World Championship. The moment the champagne sprayed, he faced the camera, his eyes firmly pointing in my direction. The eyes of the whole world focused on me following his guidance. At that moment, I felt like a star held up to the sky, shining brightly. The obsidian amulet I designed was firmly worn around his neck, reflecting a dark luster in the sunlight. My jewelry designs were also becoming more and more popular, especially the Nirvana series, inspired by Ryder's racing career rising from the ashes and metaphorically alluding to my journey out of Julian's shadow. I used fiery rubies and calm, introverted obsidian to create a strong visual impact. As soon as it was launched, it sold out, and even international luxury brands extended olive branches to me. I politely declined those cooperation invitations. I preferred free design and didn't want to be bound by commerce. Ryder supported my decision, saying, "My Gracie should be like a free bird, flying wherever she wants." I snuggled in his arms, feeling his heartbeat, feeling like a princess in a fairy tale who had the most beautiful love in the world. At the celebration banquet, media reporters from all walks of life swarmed in, flashbulbs almost blinding me. They scrambled to interview Ryder about the race, about the future. And of course, about me. "Mr. Sterling, may I ask if this beautiful lady is your girlfriend?" A reporter asked boldly. Ryder held my hand tightly, faced the camera, and admitted openly, "Yes, she is my wife and the most important person in my life." I was moved to tears. This year, we had experienced too much. From my rebirth after death, to Ryder breaking limits on the track time and again, finally holding the championship trophy. The hardships involved were not for outsiders to know. I looked at him, this once cynical boy, now with eyes full of determination and maturity. The light in his eyes was focused on me, hot and gentle. Ryder lowered his head and whispered in my ear, "Tired. Shall we go back first?" His breath was warm, spraying on my ear, causing a numbing sensation. I shook my head gently, squeezing his palm back, silently telling him I was fine. Suddenly, there was a commotion in the crowd. I followed everyone's gaze, and a familiar figure appeared abruptly at the entrance of the banquet hall. Julian Blackwood. He looked much more haggard than a year ago. His former spirited appearance was gone, replaced by a deep exhaustion and servility. "Grace, is it you? Is it really you? You're alive." He probably didn't expect that I was actually still alive. Even less did he expect that I would stand beside his nemesis in such a posture, holding his arm, accepting the blessings of the whole world. I held Ryder's arm, raised my chin slightly, and didn't speak. Ryder glanced at him contemptuously and held me tighter. "Mr. Blackwood, you seem surprised. Grace is living very well now, no need for your concern." Julian stumbled a few steps, pointing at Ryder, his voice trembling. You actually, Grace, you're actually with him? Do you know how bad my life has been this past year?" The surrounding reporters held their breath, afraid to miss any detail. Flashbulbs flashed incessantly, recording this sudden dramatic scene. Looking at his distraught appearance, I felt no ripples in my heart, even finding it somewhat amusing. The once high and mighty superstar Julian was now like a stray dog. Fate really turns around. "Sir, who I am with seems to have nothing to do with you, right?" I didn't want to entangle with him anymore and turned to leave holding Ryder's arm. But Julian rushed up like a madman and grabbed my wrist, his strength surprisingly great. "Gracie, it's me, Julian. No, you can't go. You must give me an explanation why treat me like this. What did I do wrong?" My wrist hurt from his grip. I frowned, shook him off forcefully, and slapped him backhand. Smack, loud and crisp, attracting extra attention in the noisy banquet hall. Julian's face was slapped to the side, a bright red handprint quickly appearing on his fair skin. He widened his eyes in disbelief, as if he couldn't believe I actually dared to hit him. The surrounding reporters were also stunned, flashbulbs flashing more frantically, capturing this dramatic scene. I saw on Julian's face not only shock but also a kind of fragility I had never seen before. Heh, fragile. Could he be fragile too? "I don't know any Julian Blackwood. Please show some respect. If you're trying to leech off my popularity, I'm afraid you've found the wrong person." Ryder's aura dropped suddenly, his eyes sharp as knives. "Mr. Blackwood, please have some self-respect. Grace is my wife now. If you keep pestering her, don't blame me for being impolite." His tone was icy, carrying unquestionable intimidation. Julian seemed not to hear him, still staring at me dead-on, eyes full of despair and pleading. "Wife, you got married? When? How did I not know?" "Grace, say something. Are you really going to be this heartless? Have you really forgotten everything between us?" I frowned in disgust, really not wanting to look at his sickening face anymore. "I have nothing to forget. Some loves are destined to have no result. Gracie, let's go. Don't let this kind of person dirty our eyes." Ryder put his arm around my shoulder, speaking gently, but his eyes warned Julian coldly. I nodded and didn't look back. I didn't care about Julian's pain at all. Back in the hotel room, Ryder hugged my waist from behind, chin resting on my shoulder hollow. Warm breath sprayed on my neck, stirring up tiny shivers. "Tired?" I gave a soft, closed my eyes, and enjoyed the moment of tranquility. "Want to take a bath?" Ryder's fingers gently rubbed my arm, a hint of seduction in his tone. I opened my eyes, looked into his deep eyes, and nodded. He chuckled lightly, picked me up horizontally, and walked toward the bathroom. Steam curled up, emotions permeated the air. Ryder's fingers slid slowly down my back, stopping at my slender waist, rubbing gently. "Ryder," my voice trembled, carrying a trace of pleading. "Gracie, do you regret it?" Ryder's voice was very soft, carrying a trace of imperceptible trembling. I opened my eyes. Amidst the mist, Ryder's features were a bit blurry but added a hazy sexiness. His deep eyes were now filled with unease. "Regret what?" I asked knowingly, a hint of teasing in my tone. Ryder's eyelashes trembled slightly, his thin lips pressed into a line, sounding aggrieved. "You treated Julian so well before, I'm afraid." He didn't finish his sentence, but I understood what he meant. How much I loved Julian before was known to the whole circle. I couldn't help laughing and kissed his lips gently, blocking what he was going to say next. "Silly, the past is the past, now is now. The old me is dead, the current me belongs only to you." His body clearly stiffened, and immediately he took the lead and deepened the kiss. "Gracie, I love you to death. You can only be mine." "I've always been yours, haven't I?" I chuckled lightly, reaching out to stroke his chiseled face. Outside the window, the night grew darker, and the room was filled with an ambiguous atmosphere. We climbed to the peak again and again, then slowly fell, floating in the ocean of desire. But Julian suffered from insomnia. Amidst the deafening music, Julian downed glass after glass of strong liquor. The spicy liquid slid down his throat, but couldn't extinguish the raging fire in his heart. Under the dim light of the private room, he sat slumped on the sofa, several buttons of his shirt undone, his tie hanging crookedly around his neck. "Grace, you heartless woman, why do you treat me like this?" he roared, smashing the glass in his hand fiercely onto the ground. Why did you choose him? What's so good about him? How does he compare to me?" In this year, he fell from a top male star to a laughingstock in the entertainment industry. Endorsements were lost, investments withdrawn, and fans mostly ran away. His agent Lisa mocked him even more. "Julian, look at yourself now without Grace. You're a waste, a complete joke." Wendy was also exposed in intimate hotel videos with Julian. The images were unbearable, the explicitness shocking. Shocking top male star Julian Blackwood secretly meets rising starlet Wendy Vane in hotel. Shocking scale Wendy intervenes in Julian and Grace's relationship. Confirmed homewrecker Wendy fell from a popular starlet to the bottom overnight. Overwhelming abuse and ridicule drowned her. The flowers and applause of the past turned into rotten eggs and vegetable leaves today. Endorsements canceled, roles replaced, fans unfollowing and attacking. Her life was like a roller coaster, falling fiercely from the highest point. This year, her company did hire PR, the top team in the industry. Unfortunately, the money thrown in this time was like throwing it into a bottomless pit. Wendy's video clarity rivaled high-definition movies, plus the previous rumors about her and Julian, now directly nailing the homewrecker label. Netizens turned into Sherlocks, digging up her dark history. School bullying, plastic surgery, lying about age. True and false, extremely lively. Wendy released an apology video, admitting she intervened in my relationship with Julian, destroyed my happiness, and stated she would reflect deeply and temporarily quit the entertainment industry. Quit the internet for a year, back again in a year. Netizens naturally didn't buy it. The comment section was full of curses, all kinds of nasty words. Wendy, this two-faced snake, pretending to be a white lotus, clearly seduced Julian on purpose heartache for goddess Grace, bullied by the scumbag, and the slut Julian is a blind thing. Leaving a good goddess for a town bicycle because of the huge penalty fees, Wendy was forced to live in Julian's villa. Julian had long lost his past warmth for her. He avoided her like the plague, coming back very late every day, smelling heavily of alcohol and perfume. Sometimes, he would curse loudly at Wendy, blaming her for ruining his career and his life. Wendy didn't dare to resist. After all, everything she had now was given by Julian. Without Julian, she was nothing. At this moment, the door of the private room was pushed open. Julian collapsed on the sofa like a pile of mud, shouting my name incoherently. "Gracie, don't go. Don't leave me." Wendy frowned and went over to help him. "Julian, you drank too much. Let's go home." Julian shook off her hand and cursed at her drunkenly. "Get out, get the hell out, you're not her at all." Wendy bit her lip, tears swirling in her eyes. She knew the person in Julian's heart was me. Ironically, she had tried so hard to climb into Julian's bed, only to end up like this. "Julian, wake up, I'm Wendy, I'm your girlfriend. Look at me, I'm Wendy, the one you love is me." Wendy's crying and shouting stimulated Julian even more. His eyes blurry, he roughly tore at Wendy's clothes. "Gracie. My Gracie, you're back. I knew you wouldn't leave me." Julian murmured my name over and over as if possessed. He pinned Wendy under him, kissing frantically, biting. Wendy didn't resist, just pinched Julian's back fiercely with her sharp nails, leaving bloody scratches. "Gracie," he murmured, hand caressing Wendy's cheek, rough fingertips rubbing against Wendy's delicate skin, making her feel a wave of nausea. Wendy endured the discomfort and squeezed out a weak smile. "It's me, Jules." Julian's eyes gradually focused. He saw Wendy's face clearly, the confusion in his eyes turning into disgust. He shoved Wendy away and stumbled to his feet. Bleg, sounds of vomiting followed. After vomiting, Julian pointed at Wendy shakily, cursing incoherently. "Disgusting, so fucking disgusting, who do you think you are? Do you think wearing her clothes makes you her? What kind of thing are you?" Wendy's face was pale as she said with a trembling voice. "Jules, you drank too much." "Drank too much? Even if I drink myself to death, I won't touch you." Julian turned and left. Wendy's eyes were like knives quenched in poison, fiercely gouging Julian's staggering back. She slowly stood up holding the sofa, her dress torn out of shape, revealing large patches of white skin. She picked up her phone and dialed Baron Quinn, the famous sugar daddy in the entertainment industry, said to have promoted many female stars. The phone rang a few times, and a greasy voice came through. "Miss Vane, a rare guest, why did you think of calling me?" She suppressed the disgust in her heart and said in a delicate voice, "Mr. Quinn, I have nowhere else to go. I can only ask you for help." A lewd laugh came from the other end. "Oh, Julian doesn't want you anymore? Makes sense, got tired of playing, men are like that. But don't worry, stick with me, guaranteed to be 100 times better than sticking with Julian. Baby, come to daddy, daddy will take care of you." Wendy hung up the phone and sneered at herself in the mirror. Since Julian couldn't be relied on, she could only rely on herself. Early the next morning, overwhelming news swept in. The top 3 trending searches on Weibo were all about me and Ryder. Ryder, mysterious girlfriend Grace Newman, reborn, shocking twist, jewelry designer Grace maybe not dead. The comments below were diverse, saying everything. Holy crap, Grace Newman. That jewelry designer who fell into the sea and died years ago. Impossible, right? Grace is my goddess, her death news shocked the whole design circle back, then isn't Grace dead? How is this possible? A publicity stunt idiot upstairs. If Grace wasn't dead, would Julian have caused a scene yesterday? Damn, terrifying thought. Could it be that Grace really came back? I took a deep breath and looked at Ryder. He was sitting upright, brows furrowed, seemingly more anxious than me. Sunlight spilled through the floor-to-ceiling window onto his chiseled face, making his features look even deeper and exceptionally handsome. "Ryder, rather than waiting passively, let's attack actively. Let's go public, just say. I faked my death back then." Ryder was silent for a moment, his long fingers tapping gently on the table, making a rhythmic sound. I knew he was weighing the pros and cons. Honestly, I wasn't sure either. Whether this move was risky or brilliant, I didn't know. "Okay, I'll be with you. No matter what happens, I'll be by your side. Only when you stand in the sunlight and appear openly in front of those who hurt you will they realize your existence and remember what they owe you." His words were like a tranquilizer, calming my anxious heart. This press conference was my debut after resurrection, and also a declaration of love between Ryder and me. In these 2 years, I experienced too much, falling from heaven to hell, then climbing back from hell to the human world. Now, reborn from the ashes, I wanted those who hurt me to pay the price 3 days later. At the press conference, magnesium lights flashed incessantly. I held Ryder's arm and walked up to the venue step by step. I sat down calmly, facing the dark crowd and countless camera lenses below the stage, smiling slightly. "Hello everyone, I am Grace Newman. 2 years ago, I had an accident and fell into the sea missing. Now I'm back." Reporters below went crazy, scrambling to ask questions. "Miss Newman, may I ask why you chose to fake your death back then? Miss Newman, what exactly happened between you and Mr. Julian Blackwood? Miss Newman, do you have anything to say to Miss Wendy Vane?" I answered every question calmly. including how I was framed by Wendy back then, how I escaped later, and everything about struggling to survive in a foreign land with Ryder. I just wanted to show the pain of these 3 years to them without reservation, letting everyone know. I, Grace Newman, am not that easy to bully. The audience was instantly in an uproar. Reporters didn't expect me to be so direct, recording my words excitedly. Ryder chuckled in my ear, whispering, "Babe, this mouth of yours is getting sharper." I raised an eyebrow at him, a hint of smugness in my eyes. Dealing with scumbags and mistresses requires fighting fire with fire. The effect of this press conference was even better than I imagined. The internet almost one-sidedly supported me, crusading against Julian and Wendy. Major media scrambled to report, and my name resounded throughout the design circle again, even more than 3 years ago. After the press conference, Wendy tried to contact me several times, but I hung up mercilessly. After phone bombardment failed, she actually came to my door directly, followed by 2 black-clothed bodyguards looking just like an arrogant villainess in a TV drama. "Grace, good tactics pretending to be dead to fool everyone for so long, now jumping out to play innocent. What exactly do you want? Haven't you harmed me enough?" Wendy's overbearing attitude made me laugh. I smiled contemptuously. "Wendy, your skill in posturing really hasn't changed a bit. What, afraid I'll beat you up, bringing bodyguards for courage?" "You," Wendy turned pale with anger, pointing at me, trembling, speechless. I slapped her hand away, sneering. "Don't point your dirty finger at me. I find it disgusting. I'll put it here today. Since I, Grace Newman, climbed back from hell, I didn't plan to let you pair of dogs off easily. I want Julian to pay back 10 times what he owes me. As for you." I looked her up and down, smiling contemptuously. "You're just a worn-out shoe he'll throw away when he gets tired of playing." Exposed by me, Wendy flew into a rage out of humiliation, her sharp nails aiming straight for my face. "What are you proud of? Do you think clinging to Ryder makes you a phoenix rising from the ashes? He's just playing with you men. Once the novelty wears off, you're nothing." I was prepared, dodging sideways and backhanding her with a slap. Smack! Ah! Wendy screamed in pain. I showed no mercy, slapping her face again. "Grace, you bitch, you'll die a horrible death. I don't know if I'll die horribly, but I know you'll soon wish you were dead." Seeing this, the 2 bodyguards behind her immediately rushed up, wanting to attack me. I sneered. Ryder wasn't just for decoration. He extended his long legs and easily kicked the 2 bodyguards to the ground. "Who dares to touch her?" Wendy was scared into retreating repeatedly, face pale, pointing at me trembling. Ryder, don't do anything rash. I'm the eldest daughter of the Vane family. Dare to touch me and see? Gone was the arrogance from just now. I scoffed. Eldest daughter of the Vane family? Heth, I really can't see where you act like a lady. Besides bullying people and borrowing power to tyrannize, what else can you do? Wendy's face changed, obviously hit where it hurt. She bit her lip, the hatred in her eyes almost swallowing me. Ryder stood beside me, one hand gently stroking my back, giving me silent support. The feeling of being protected was really good. "Babe, how do you want to handle her?" I touched my chin, pretending to think. "How about making her kneel and apologize?" "In your dreams," Wendy screamed, trying to run, but I grabbed her hair and threw her hard onto the ground. "I'll let go of me my hair, Grace, you lunatic. You dare hit me, Julian won't let you off. Ryder, honey, could you trouble yourself to control her bodyguards? I'm afraid they'll disturb me educating her." I smiled charmingly, but with a chilling coldness. Ryder understood, sweeping his long legs, and the 2 bodyguards fell wailing again. I sneered and raised my hand for a slap. Once, twice, 3 times. The anger in my heart erupted like a volcano. The pain and hatred accumulated over 2 years poured out at this moment. For being a bitch, for causing my miscarriage, for spreading rumors about me. My blows got heavier, and Wendy's face soon swelled like a pig's head, blood seeping from the corner of her mouth. She cried and begged for mercy, voice hoarse, no longer arrogant. "Grace, I was wrong, please let me go. I won't dare do it again." I was tired of hitting, my hand sore. Ryder timely handed over a wet wipe, gently wiping my fingers, eyes full of distress. His considerate appearance made Wendy burn with jealousy, but she didn't dare make another sound. "Babe, feel relieved?" I nodded gently. Dealing with a manipulative bitch of Wendy's level really didn't need wasting too many brain cells. Just then, harsh police sirens approached, breaking the tense atmosphere. My heart skipped a beat. No way, so coincidental. I didn't want to go to the station for this small matter. Seeing the police, Wendy seemed to grab a lifeline, crying louder, pointing at me screaming hoarsely. "Police, help, this woman hit me, she wants to kill me." Ryder put his arm around my shoulder, calmly saying to the police. "Officer," she spoke rudely first, insulting my girlfriend. "We were just acting in self-defense. The surveillance is proof." The police looked at the camera, then at Wendy's face swollen like a pig's head, and probably had a judgment in mind. "Come back to the station with us, all of you." At the station, after investigation and evidence collection, the truth soon came out. Wendy maliciously tried to hurt someone but got beaten instead. The surveillance video clearly recorded the whole process. In the end, Wendy and the 2 bodyguards were detained for 7 days, which counts as venting some anger. Leaving the station, the night was deep. Ryder put his arm around my shoulder, asking softly, "Hungry? What do you want to eat?" I shook my head. The exercise just now consumed a lot of energy. Now I just wanted to go home and sleep. "I want to eat you." I stood on tiptoes and blew gently into his ear. Ryder stiffened, eyes instantly becoming burning hot. He picked me up and strode toward the sports car parked by the road. "Babe, you're playing with fire." His low voice carried a hint of huskiness, sexy as hell. I chuckled, hooked his tie, pulling him toward me, then burn me to death. The sports car sped all the way, finally stopping in front of a private villa. Ryder carried me into the house, the kisses never stopping along the way. He placed me gently on the bed, eyes mesmerized like a leopard ready to pounce. "Babe, you're really a vixen." I chuckled, reaching out to hook his tie, pulling him toward me. "Then do you like this vixen?" "Love to madness." He kissed my lips again with stronger desire. Clothes were shed one by one, skin touching skin, the room filled with ambiguous atmosphere. A night of entanglement, passion like fire. Dawn spilled through the gaps in the curtains. I woke up from sleep, body aching, but mood unusually pleasant. Ryder was no longer by my side, only a glass of warm water and a note on the bedside table. "Babe, something up at the company, leaving first. Bringing you breakfast later." I rubbed my temples and drank the water in one gulp. After washing up, I went downstairs to get something to eat when the doorbell rang. Thinking it was property management or delivery, I opened the door casually. Standing at the door was Julian. "Why are you here?" He was wearing casual clothes and sunglasses, looking a bit tired. Hearing my voice, he took off his sunglasses, revealing bloodshot eyes, looking at me deeply. "Grace, I came to see you. Can you let me in? I want to talk to you." His voice was low and hoarse, as if suppressing some strong emotion. My heart sank, a bad premonition rising. "I have nothing to talk to you about." I turned to close the door, but Julian reached out to block it. "Grace, do you really not want to see me? I know I was wrong. I beg you to give me another chance. Let's start over, okay? I really miss you. Without you, I'm going crazy." I frowned in disgust, a trace of mockery in my tone. "Julian, what deep affection are you faking? When you slept with Wendy, did you think of me? When I was pregnant and harmed into miscarriage by Wendy, calling you crying, you said I was being unreasonable. Now you come running to tell me this. Don't you feel disgusted?" Julian stumbled a few steps, face pale. "Wendy, how dare she? I didn't know." "Didn't know?" I approached him, questioning word by word. "Wendy targeted me everywhere. You really didn't know. She deliberately sent me videos of you two in bed at the hotel. You didn't know? She rumored that I plagiarized designs. I was cyberbullied, kicked out of the company. You didn't know any of this. Or were you just playing dumb?" The more I thought, the angrier I got, as if a fire was burning in my chest, ready to erupt any time. I raised my hand and slapped Julian hard. Smack! Julian's face turned to the side, blood seeping from the corner of his mouth. Suddenly he froze, gaze landing on the hickey on my collarbone, eyes like poison. "Is this Ryder's?" He shoved me into the villa violently. My back hit the wall, a sharp pain making me gasp. A strong smell of perfume hit my face, sickeningly sweet. I recognized this smell. It was what Wendy used. "Grace, you're so cheap. How does it taste sleeping with Ryder, What is Ryder, worthy of snatching my woman? You can only be mine what I can't have. No one can have." His fierce kiss carried punishment, rough and barbaric. Hands started getting restless too. "MMH? Let go." "Julian, are you crazy?" Disgusting, nausea churning in my stomach, I vomited all over him. He froze, released me in disgust, stumbling back a few steps. I wiped the corner of my mouth and sneered. Great star Julian, is your germophobia acting up again? What, think I'm dirty? His face was ashen, staring silently at the hickey on my collarbone, eyes terrifyingly sinister. I knew he was furious from shame. Ryder walked to the door with steaming buns and soy milk, smiling. Seeing this scene, the smile on his face froze instantly. Without a word, he rushed up and punched Julian. Julian, you're fucking looking for death? Julian didn't show weakness either, fighting back. Ryder obviously had the upper hand. After all, as a professional racer, his fitness and reaction were not something Julian could compare to. One punch, two punches, each harder than the last. I could even hear the sound of bones cracking. A trace of pleasure rose in my heart, mixed with faint unease. Ryder, enough, you'll kill him if you keep hitting. I actively hugged his arm. Ryder's movement paused. He gently cupped my face, thumb tenderly wiping the vomit residue from the corner of my mouth, eyes full of heartache and worry. Gracie, are you okay? Did he hurt you? I shook my head, looking at the bruises on his chiseled face, heart aching terribly. I'm fine, just a bit nauseous. Go see how Julian is, don't let him actually die. Does it hurt? He grabbed my hand, kissed it, and shook his head. Doesn't hurt, seeing you're okay is good. This kind of scum deserves to die. The police arrived quickly. After understanding the situation, they took us and Julian back to the station. While giving statements, I learned Julian's injuries were more serious than I imagined. 3 broken ribs, broken nose bridge, 2 front teeth lost, mild concussion. Statement done, I was released without charge. Ryder, due to self-defense, was only verbally educated a few sentences. Julian wasn't so lucky. Charges of intentional injury and attempted rape led to him being detained for investigation. Given Julian's serious injuries, he is currently receiving treatment in the hospital. Once his condition stabilizes, he will be formally arrested. Chloe rushed into the police station like a whirlwind and hugged me so hard I almost couldn't breathe. Gracie, are you okay? You scared me to death, that bastard Julian, I'm going to castrate him. She let go, looked me up and down, confirming I wasn't missing any limbs, before relaxing a bit. What exactly happened? Did Ryder go in too? Did he protect you? I briefly recounted the events. Hearing my story, Chloe exploded directly. Holy crap, Julian, that dog, he dared to try and force himself on you and hit Ryder. Who does he think he is? God. She spun around in anger like a furious little lion. No, I can't swallow this anger. I'm going to find someone to kill him. I pulled her back, sighing helplessly. Chloe, calm down. It's a society of laws. Don't be impulsive. Julian is already in. He will face legal sanctions. What use are legal sanctions with his money? Hire a good lawyer. He'll be out in a few months tops. What if he comes out to revenge on you then? Chloe got more excited as she spoke, eyes red. I knew she was genuinely worried about me, warmth surging in my heart. Don't worry, I'm fine. Ryder will protect me too. I patted her hand gently, comforting her. To be honest, I didn't have much sympathy for Julian. Ending up like this was entirely his own fault. If he hadn't let lust rush to his brain, he wouldn't have broken ribs and lost teeth. Chloe noticed Ryder standing aside and immediately switched to a flattering smile. Ryder, great God. Hello, long admired your name meeting you today. Indeed, fame is not as good as meeting face to face so handsome. You must protect Gracie well, she is my heart's flesh. Can't lose a single hair. If anyone dares bully her in the future, I'll be the first to disagree. The corners of Ryder's mouth rose slightly, revealing an imperceptible smile. Rest assured I will. That night, the 3 of us went to the Wishing Fountain in the city center square to set off fireworks. Early autumn night, breeze cool. Many people were in the square, mostly couples, also some families with children. Chloe put her palms together, eyes closed, chanting to the Wishing Fountain. God bless, let me find a man as handsome, rich, and devoted as Ryder, preferably one. 88 meters tall, 8-pack abs, and good in bed. Preferably looking like Daniel Wu, body like Eddie Peng, money like Elon Musk. I wish Julian, that bastard, impotent for life, hit by bird poop when going out, stepping on banana peels when walking, choking on water, choking on food. Brilliant fireworks bloomed in the night sky, illuminating Chloe's excited face and lighting up Ryder's deep eyes. I closed my eyes, palms together, silently making a wish. Hope future life can be as dazzling as tonight's fireworks, and hope Ryder can accompany me forever. Wish made, I opened my eyes, only to see Ryder staring at me fixedly, gaze burning. "What did you wish for?" he asked softly, voice low and magnetic. My cheeks reddened slightly, turning my head away shyly. "Secret. I know even if you don't say." He leaned close to my ear, whispering, "You must hope I can stay with you forever." I pursed my lips, not denying it. Chloe watched us from the side, exaggerating dry heaves twice. "I say, can you two restrain yourselves? Consider the feelings of single dogs, okay?" I smiled and pushed Ryder away, running to Chloe, holding her arm coquettishly. All right, no PDA. "Chloe, let's go look over there. Seems like there's cotton candy." Chloe immediately got spirited. Go, I want the biggest one," I smiled sweetly. Happiness was so simple, within reach. Being with the person you like, even just watching fireworks, felt extremely romantic. Once, I almost gave up everything for Julian. My dreams, my friends, even my self-esteem. I was like a moth flying into the fire, flying toward him without turning back, even knowing it was a disaster destined to leave me bruised all over. I designed jewelry for him, managed everything for him, even turned down an internationally renowned jewelry exhibition just for his flippant, "I don't like it." To cater to his taste, I gave up comfortable flats and put on the sky-high heels he liked. My feet blistered and bled, but I didn't dare cry pain in front of him. He just said carelessly, "Women should be a bit exquisite." Thinking back now, I was incurably stupid then. Ryder was different. He respected my dreams and supported my career. He would patiently listen to my jewelry design concepts and give encouragement and suggestions when I hit a bottleneck. He would accompany me to various exhibitions and help me fight for more opportunities. He would remember what I liked to eat, what I didn't, and prepare gifts carefully for every holiday. He never stinted on praise for me, nor hid his love for me. This is the woman I love most, and also the most talented jewelry designer. Every day with Ryder, I felt incredibly relaxed and free. I didn't need to disguise myself or curry favor intentionally. I could be my truest self. This feeling was something I never had with Julian. Click! The phone froze our three brilliant, smiling faces. Chloe couldn't wait to edit her social media post, captioning, "Godly friendship, beautiful fireworks, and sweet love. What is this heaven on earth?" adding a pile of bling-bling emojis. Meanwhile, Julian had just finished surgery, and Wendy was notified by the doctor to go take care of him. What? Julian was beat that badly. Wendy's patience for Julian had long been worn out. Since Grace came back, Julian had changed, becoming moody and unpredictable. Wendy spent more and more effort on him, but got less and less response. He was like a bottomless pit, greedily swallowing her youth and enthusiasm, but never giving the response she wanted. When receiving the hospital call, Wendy's first reaction was to refuse. She was tired of this endless giving, tired of Julian's disregard and coldness. Why did he get himself bruised all over as soon as Grace came back? Was he seeking sympathy? Acting pitiful for whom? In the VIP ward, Julian lay quietly on the bed, gauze wrapped around his face, obvious bruises on his exposed skin. Wendy went to the hospital eventually. Seeing his miserable state, there was no heartache, but an inexplicable pleasure surged. "Julian, you have today too." Julian slowly opened his eyes. Seeing it was Wendy, a trace of disgust flashed in his eyes, quickly disappearing, replaced by a weak plea for help. "Wendy, pour me a glass of water." Wendy walked up to him, looking down condescendingly, red lips curving into a mocking smile. "Julian, you have today too." Julian's eyes darkened, silent. Wendy picked up the water glass but deliberately let go, letting it smash onto the floor with a crisp crash. Water splashed everywhere, also onto Julian's hospital gown. "Oh my, so sorry," Wendy said hypocritically, tone full of mockery. "Slipped." Julian's face darkened further. He stared dead at Wendy, anger burning in his eyes. "Wendy, what exactly do you want?" Wendy bent down, leaned close to Julian, and patted his face hard. "Julian, you have today too, aren't you very powerful? How come you're lying here like a dead dog now? Really pitiful and laughable." Sharp ridicule was like a knife, stabbing fiercely into Julian's pride. He clenched his teeth, veins popping on his forehead, trying hard to endure the surging anger inside. He struggled to raise his hand, pointing at the door, voice hoarse. Get out, I don't want to see you again. Seeing his weak appearance, a pleasure of revenge rose in Wendy's heart. Get out? Why should I get out? I haven't admired your desolate look enough yet. Oh, right, forgot to tell you good news. Grace and Ryder went to see fireworks together tonight, having a lot of fun. Wendy's words were like a poison needle, piercing fiercely into Julian's heart. He clenched his fist violently, knuckles white, violent pain surging in his chest. A mouthful of sweetness rushed to his throat. He coughed violently, bright red blood flowing down the corner of his mouth, staining the white sheets red, shocking to the eye. Julian, look at your ghost-like appearance now. Serves you right seeing Julian vomit blood. Wendy showed no panic or guilt, instead laughing more presumptuously. Oh my, great star Julian, how are you so fragile? Vomiting blood already? Seems your body isn't that great either. No wonder Grace didn't want you, faking death at the wedding to find Ryder. The sound of Wendy's high heels faded away, the ward returned to deathly silence. Hurried footsteps broke the tranquility of the ward. Doctors and nurses swarmed in, sending him into the emergency room again. On the operating table, blinding white light blurred Julian's consciousness. He had a dream. In the dream, I wore a pure white wedding dress, standing under the stained glass of the church. Sunlight plated a layer of holy brilliance on me through the glass. I smiled beautifully, bright eyes and white teeth, just like when we first met. He reached out wanting to touch me, but found he couldn't reach no matter what. Gracie! Suddenly my smile twisted gradually, becoming strange and cold, finally turning into Wendy's mocking face. Tusk, Julian, look at your ghost-like appearance now, truly serves you right. Grace doesn't want you. Choosing Ryder, what can you do? You can do nothing, you're just a waste trash. Julian's consciousness fell into boundless darkness, as if falling into the cold seabed, suffocation gripping his throat tightly. Dream shattered. He opened his eyes abruptly, breathing rapidly. Entering his eyes was the pale hospital ceiling, but the pain in his chest was terrifyingly real, as if someone had gouged a piece of flesh from his chest alive. My son, look at you. How did you get yourself like this? Is it that bitch Grace? Is it her? I knew it, she's a jinx. Running away at the wedding wasn't enough, now coming to curse my son, Julian's mother cried and threw herself at Julian's bedside. Mom, enough. His voice was hoarse. Enough. You're like this, and I can't say a few words. It's all that bitch Grace, she harmed you. You were a top male star, could earn so much money, now look, all has to be paid back. Medical bills, penalty fees, and those messy endorsements of yours, which doesn't need money. What do you have to pay with? As Julian's mother spoke, she cried again, tears and snot all over her face. Julian closed his eyes, took a deep breath, suppressing the sweetness in his throat. He understood that in his mother's tears, besides heartache, there was more fear of money. In his mother's eyes, he was just a money tree that could bring her endless wealth. Now that this money tree was about to wither, she was naturally anxious. Meanwhile, after returning to the country, I dove headfirst into the world of jewelry design. Once, I was icing on the cake for Julian's stardom. Now I wanted to crown myself. Inspiration erupted like a volcano. Every design draft shone with the light of freedom, no longer limited by anyone's preferences, only loyal to my own heart. I established my own studio, Muse. I designed many series, inspired by life, by the ultimate pursuit of beauty. The Galaxy series used crushed diamonds to piece together the brilliance of the vast galaxy. Every tiny diamond finely cut and polished, refracting charming light under rays, as if holding the whole universe in hand. The Eternity series, with classic six-prong setting craftsmanship, fixed huge diamonds firmly on the setting, symbolizing eternal, indestructible love. The Nirvana series boldly adopted the contrasting design of black gold and rubies, the deep mystery of black gold and the passionate unrestraint of rubies reflecting each other, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, symbolizing female independence and strength. They were no longer to please a specific person, but to please myself, to declare my existence, my value to the world. The studio phone was almost blowing up. Various cooperation invitations came flooding in. I logged onto Weibo, only to find myself and Muse Studio already hanging at #1 on the trending list. Clicking in, it turned out a fashion blogger posted my Nirvana series, titled Best Jewelry of the Year. Bar none, the comment section below had already exploded. Ah, Goddess Grace's design is amazing, must buy, buy, buy. From Galaxy to Nirvana, witnessed Grace's growth, also witnessed the rise of female power. Grace, the model of independent women. Divorce is nothing. I just want to live beautifully, of course. There were some discordant voices. Hype, absolutely hype, just a jewelry designer worthy of such praise. Leaving Julian, she is nothing. He, probably hooked up with some sugar daddy, right? Looking at these comments, my heart had no ripples. I never feared rumors because I knew my work was the best proof. The studio orders increased, team members busier, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed this fulfilling feeling, enjoyed creating beauty with my own hands. On the other hand, news of Wendy's comeback live stream was overwhelming. I didn't want to pay attention, but didn't expect her to name me directly in the stream, accusing me word by word of being promiscuous and habitual plagiarist. She cried like a pear blossom bathed in rain. Fans in front of the screen felt distressed, fighting injustice for her, cursing me terribly. I knew it. A woman like Grace definitely couldn't stand loneliness after divorce, hooking up with men everywhere. Galaxy series. Eternity series. I think it's plagiarism series. Maybe some pretty boy designer helped her make it. Leaving Julian. She counts for shit pretending to be an independent woman. Isn't she relying on Racer Rider to rise? Overwhelming malice surged like a tide, drowning me. Cyber violence was never simple verbal attacks. My phone number was leaked. Countless harassment calls came in, unbearable insults filling my eardrums. Ryder and my address were also exposed, garbage piled at the door. Someone even splashed paint, bright red paint smearing my door dazzlingly. They wanted to cyberbully and dox my parents, only to find I had no parents. Accurately speaking, I was an orphan, grew up in a welfare home. On the household register, besides myself, there was no one. This undoubtedly dealt a heavy blow to those internet trolls. They were like headless flies, buzzing around but unable to find a target to attack. Grace, you're just a wild stray no one wants. No wonder so vicious. Turns out born with bad genes. Came out of an orphanage, tusk, who knows how many men. Wendy looked proudly at the public opinion trending these days, lips curving into a vicious smile. Under the dim light in the room, various tools were scattered messily. Whips, ropes, candles. The air was filled with a sickening smell of leather and sweat. Sugar Daddy Baron Quinn, his fat body wrapped only in a bath towel, held a long leather whip, admiring his heroic posture in the mirror. Seeing Wendy enter, he revealed a lewd smile. "Baby, come here." Wendy suppressed the nausea and walked over. "Tonight, I'm going to train you well," Baron Quinn said, waving the whip in his hand. Wendy fought back the urge to vomit, put on a fawning smile, and gently stroked the sugar daddy's greasy belly. "You're so bad, I'm so scared," to make a comeback. She paid too much, so much that she felt numb herself. Baron Quinn promised that as long as she was obedient, he would help her get the best resources, letting her return to the peak of the entertainment industry. She knew for the comeback to revenge on me, she must endure all this. For money, for fame, she could sell anything. Wendy thought that relying on Baron Quinn, she could step me under her feet, stand at the peak of the entertainment industry again, and enjoy the glory of being surrounded by stars. She was wrong. She underestimated the internet's memory and overestimated Baron Quinn's ability. Baron Quinn was just a lustful nouveau rich, okay for playing around, but really promoting her required real money investment and market and audience recognition. And Wendy had neither. The internet has a memory. Those scandals, that unbearable past, were like maggots in the bones, unwashable no matter what. After the comeback livestream, Wendy's popularity did rise a bit, but it was just a flash in the pan. Anti-fans still stared like tigers, and new fans mostly had a mentality of watching the fun. Baron Quinn threw a lot of resources at her and bought a lot of press releases, but the effect was minimal. Wendy's acting skills were already criticized, plus the long silence made her rusty. The few dramas she took either flopped or were criticized completely. And I wasn't idle. Although cyber violence was terrible, it couldn't hurt my foundation. I, Grace Newman, was never a flower in a greenhouse, manipulated by others. I grew in the mud. Wildfire can't burn me out. Spring wind blows me back to life. I backhanded a lawyer's letter, making marketing accounts and Wendy cry for their parents, incidentally catching those rumor-mongering keyboard warriors in one net. Regarding the recent malicious slander and personal attacks against me on the internet, I have entrusted a lawyer to handle it and will pursue it to the end. Below is part of the evidence. Miss Wendy Vane, your sugar daddy seems a bit weak. The comeback road is so bumpy. Consider changing to a more capable one. Friendly tip, 2 old ones are prone to kidney deficiency. 9 grid images, clearly displayed chat records between Wendy and marketing accounts, and the operation mode of the troll army accounts. Every picture was like a sharp knife, stabbing fiercely into the hearts of Wendy and those internet trolls. The comment section exploded instantly. Holy crap, reversal? Turns out Wendy directed and acted it herself. I said it, Miss Grace doesn't look like that kind of person. Heartache for Miss Grace, bullied for no reason, waiting for Wendy, and those marketing accounts to eat prison food. Wendy naturally saw my Weibo too, shaking with anger, smashing her phone directly on the floor. Grace, you bitch, I won't let you off. Baron Quinn saw Wendy like this, a trace of disgust flashing in his eyes. He played with women for freshness, for excitement, not to find trouble for himself. Wendy now was like a hot potato, making him want to avoid her. Enough, stop making noise. Isn't it just a statement? What's there to be afraid of? Baron Quinn said impatiently, a hint of warning in his tone. Wendy bit her lip, enduring the anger, daring not flare up again. She knew everything. She had now relied on Baron Quinn. If she offended him, she was really finished. I know, Big Q. Wendy squeezed out a smile uglier than crying, voice trembling. But she didn't know Baron Quinn was already tired of her. Men, the speed of liking the new and loathing the old is faster than flipping a book, let alone Wendy was nothing but trouble to him now. Unsurprisingly, Wendy completely flopped. When the wall falls, everyone pushes. When the tree falls, the monkeys scatter. The survival rule of the entertainment industry is this cruel. Wendy's assistant was named Ivy, an inconspicuous, submissive, small character. Back then, she deliberately bumped into me on the street, causing my miscarriage. In the chat records, Wendy promised to give Ivy a generous reward after success, enough for her to leave the city and start a new life. And Ivy's reply was full of humbleness and fawning. Sister Wendy, don't worry, I'll definitely handle it for you, absolutely won't leave any traces. Heh, what a seamless plan. It's a pity Heaven's net is wide, sparse, but letting nothing through. Reporting to police, filing a case, everything proceeded exceptionally smoothly. Ivy was soon arrested. With irrefutable evidence, she couldn't argue and could only cry admitting the crime back then. And Wendy, as the mastermind behind the scenes, naturally couldn't escape legal sanctions. Officer, I'm wronged. It's all that bitch Grace framing me. She was jealous of me, so she deliberately found someone to slander me. I want to make a call. I want to call Julian. He will definitely help me, Wendy cried and shouted, trying to defend herself. The police looked at me. Seeing no objection, they nodded and had someone bring Wendy's phone. Wendy couldn't wait to dial Julian's number, tone full of grievance and pleading. Julian, I was arrested by the police. Come save me. It's Grace. It's all that bitch Grace framing me. Silence on the other end for a moment. Then came Julian's deep voice, carrying a trace of impatience. Wendy, what ghost are you playing now? You caused the trouble yourself, bear the consequences yourself. These days, after recovering, Julian naturally saw Wendy's ugly state. He was angry from shame, yet helpless. After all, he was the blind one who didn't know people clearly. Busy tone from the phone. Wendy was like a trapped beast, roaring and struggling frantically in the cramped interrogation room. Her hair disheveled, makeup cried off, where was half the glamorous look of the past. She cursed me hysterically, attacking me with the most vicious language, as if I were the root of all her misfortunes. Grace, you bitch, you'll die a horrible death. You ruined me. You ruined my everything. Why treat me like this? Why do you live so well while I have to endure all this misfortune? I watched her go crazy with arms crossed, no ripples in my heart, even wanting to laugh a bit. What are you laughing at? What right do you have to laugh at me? Seeing my expression, Wendy roared even more crazily. I shrugged, tone understated. Wendy, you calculated everything, but ultimately couldn't calculate the cycle of heavenly principles. Retribution is unhappy. Wendy was like a popped balloon, instantly deflated, paralyzed on the ground, eyes hollow, muttering something. Impossible, impossible. I didn't bother listening to her nonsense anymore, turning to leave. The police would handle the rest, and I should start my new life too. Just reaching the door, Julian appeared suddenly. He grabbed my wrist, strength surprisingly great, knuckles white. "Gracie, let's talk. I know you still blame me. The last thing was my fault, I shouldn't have forced you. Is there really no possibility between us?" He looked at me with complicated eyes, carrying a trace of guilt and regret. Forced. He actually used such an understated word like forced to describe what he did to me. Anger surged from the bottom of my heart. I slapped him with my other hand, fingertips trembling. Disgust, bone-deep disgust. "Julian, stop disgusting me. I want to vomit seeing you. Seems Ryder didn't beat you enough last time." His face changed, a trace of injury flashing in his eyes, but immediately returned to calm, gripping my wrist tightly as if afraid I'd walk away. The next second, he took out the engagement ring salvaged from the sea, kneeling on one knee to show me. "Gracie, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you like that before. I've kept this ring. It represents my feelings for you, never changed. I know whatever I say now can't make up for the hurt I caused you, but I truly regret it. Give me a chance to pursue you again, okay?" I laughed mockingly, suddenly feeling incredibly ironic. This ring, once the thing I cherished most, now became the thing I found most disgusting. "Julian, are you f-seeking sick? Taking this thing out now to disgust whom?" I waved his hand away. The ring drew an arc in the air. With a plop, it fell right into the sewer. Julian froze. He looked at his empty hand in disbelief, then at the dark sewer opening, face turning pale instantly. "Grace, you're ruthless enough," I sneered. "Compared to what you did to me, what is this? Julian, what you owe me, you can't pay back in this life." His eyes flickered, lips trembling, wanting to say something but ultimately saying nothing. Serves him right. I felt a burst of pleasure in my heart, turning and leaving without hesitation. 3 days later, Wendy was publicly live-streamed on trial. In the lens, she had long lost the glamour of the past, hair messy, face pale, eyes hollow. In the livestream, the judge read the verdict on Wendy. Suspected of intentional injury, defamation, and commercial fraud among other crimes, punished for multiple crimes, sentenced to 15 years in prison. Hearing this result, I smiled satisfied. Wendy went crazy. She screamed hysterically, struggling to break free from the bailiff's restraint, spitting saliva, acting mad. "No, impossible. 15 years. Why sentence me to 15 years? I'm not guilty. It's Grace framing me. She stole my everything. Julian, you ungrateful dog, I gave everything for you. You actually treat me like this." Watching Wendy being dragged out of court like a mad dog by bailiffs, I felt no ripple in my heart. Wicked people have wicked returns. Wendy's ending was considered deserved. After Julian was disfigured by Ryder last time, he completely vanished from the entertainment industry. Saying disfigured wasn't that extreme. Ryder knew limits, just beating him black and blue, broken nose bridge, having to do surgery to repair. But no matter how good the surgery, he couldn't return to that flawless face of before. I heard his comeback was hopeless. Investments failed successively, living quite desperately now. Thought my life would calm down from here, focusing on career, returning to life's peak. But unfortunately, some people just linger like ghosts. I just won the gold award in the International Jewelry Design Competition. At the celebration banquet, before finishing a glass of champagne, I saw a familiar figure, Julian. He held a phone, comments flashing on the screen, lens aimed at me, face wearing a fawning smile, humble like a dog. "Gracie, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you like that before, shouldn't have listened to Wendy's slander, shouldn't have." He choked up, voice trembling. "Please, beg you to give me another chance. I'll definitely treat you well. I'll use the rest of my life to make it up to you. I love you, I can't live without you," he wept bitterly. I almost sprayed out the champagne I just drank. What is this? Public execution via livestream. This drama is too melodramatic. He thought this would win sympathy and make me soft-hearted. Guests around started pointing at us, discussing animatedly. "This Julian is really something, harmed the girl so badly, now has the face to beg for reconciliation." Exactly. Who was it that kicked Grace out for that Mistress Wendy back then? Now Grace is an internationally famous jewelry designer. He wants to eat grass looking back. Men, all pigs seeing me unmoved, he suddenly knelt down, kowtowing desperately to me, forehead broken, blood flowing. "Gracie, I beg you, I'm willing to do anything, just begging your forgiveness without you. Life is worse than death." Before I could react, a figure rushed out like an arrow from a string. With a muffled bang, Julian was slammed hard onto the ground. It was Ryder. He straddled Julian, punching down one after another mercilessly. "You have the FC King face to appear here. What kind of thing are you, worthy of begging Gracie's forgiveness? Have you forgotten how you treated Gracie for that bitch Wendy back then?" Ryder's roar resounded through the entire banquet hall. Julian was beaten without power to fight back, only curling up on the ground, emitting painful groans. His face soon swelled like a pig's head, blood gushing from the corner of his mouth, looking extremely miserable. Gracie, I love you, I know I was wrong." Guests around were dumbfounded. Some took out phones to record, some whispered, and some simply cheered loudly. This farce, unsurprisingly, went trending again. Ryder got tired of hitting and finally stopped. "Are you worthy?" He stepped fiercely on Julian's face, leather shoes grinding, making a tooth-aching sound. I admit, at this moment, I was pleased. "Julian, you have today too." I looked at Ryder. The anger in his eyes hadn't fully extinguished, yet he looked at me with a trace of imperceptible tenderness. He walked to my side, gently pulling me into his arms. "It's okay, Gracie. No one can bully you anymore." That day, Julian was sent to the hospital again, this time hurt worse than last. Heard several ribs broke, internal organs damaged, estimating lying in hospital for several months. In news, on the internet, everywhere were reports about him. Former top star reduced to stray dog, wealthy dream shattered, now life uncertain. Grace's magnificent counterattack, scumbag ex-husband regrets, begging reconciliation fails, beaten instead. Ryder strikes for love, beating love rival angrily, true nature or hype. Meanwhile, Ryder didn't forget Julian. He wasn't someone who only solved problems with fists. He started collecting Julian's dirt. Tax evasion, illegal drag racing, solicitation. One by one, piece by piece, shocking to the eye. Turns out, under Julian's glamorous appearance, hid such a filthy soul. Looking at those evidences, I had no ripple in my heart, only endless disgust. Ryder submitted these evidences to the police. Julian was arrested directly in the hospital. Former top male star, now reduced to a prisoner, truly ironic. In the room, Ryder's hands wrapped around my waist, chin resting on my shoulder, warm breath spilling on my neck hollow. Relieved. His low voice carried a trace of smile, like coaxing a child. Ryder smelled very good, faint tobacco scent mixed with clear woody fragrance, making me feel safe. I raised my hand, gently stroking his chiseled face, fingertips sliding across his tight jawline, feeling his skin temperature. His breathing was slightly rapid, eyes becoming deep. "Ryder, thank you for everything you did for me." I gently bit his earlobe, whispering, "You know what? I've always admired you, your speed, your passion, your wildness." Ryder's scorching breath sprayed on my skin, carrying a trace of dampness of lust. His hot lips pasted on my lower abdomen, all the way down, like a devout believer worshipping a deity. I arched my back, fingertips deeply embedded in his hair, broken moans spilling from my mouth. Ryder looked up, eyes flashing with dangerous light. "Gracie, you're so beautiful." He kissed me again, this time wilder, more unscrupulous. I felt like a small boat tossing in a storm, likely to be swallowed by huge waves any time. "Ryder," he laughed low, voice full of pride and satisfaction. "Call me hubby." I bit my lip, hesitated, finally obediently called out. "Hubby, wife." Outside the window, night was deep, all silence. Only our breathing sounds, interwoven together, faster and faster, hotter and hotter. This night, we entangled to death, tireless. The days following were sickeningly sweet. We traveled around the world, hugging and kissing under the Eiffel Tower in Paris, strolling on the beaches of Maldives, skiing on the snow mountains of Switzerland. Every scenery witnessed our love. The world knows Ryder loves Grace like life. Happiness has no formula. Partiality and attentiveness are the solution. The last page of love, hope we end with happiness. I will use my life to guard you, love you until forever. The end.